I'm Prophet Ron Dwayne Whitfield, and I'm at Texas Department of Child Protective Service, and I just was informally informed that I cannot see my child and that I cannot enter into the building. I don't know who's made these decisions. I don't know when these decisions were made. I wasn't aware of anything in court of this taking place. I understand that an assistant attorney for the Harris County Attorney's Office drew up some orders and presented them to the clerk, and the clerk filed them, and that is unlawful. Only a judge can present orders to a clerk for filing. All an assistant or attorney, him or herself, can do is attach to, whether it be in federal court or state court, proposed orders for the convenience of the signer, judge, magistrate, whoever the authority may be, to sign. When a judge submits to the court clerk for filing a judgment on order, that is what is called a rendition of the order or judgment. Signing and rendering and docketing are legal terms of art when used in the law. So in this case, when the orders were filed before they were signed, they were automatically rendered. They became records of the court. For example, a judge may, from Texas, sign an order or a judgment in Hawaii. Can one see that a person be a judge guilty as found by verdict of the jury and that punishment be assessed at death? Later, an appeal will automatically go to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, and that court will review, and if that court, Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, affirms the judgment of the lower court or reverses it, let's say that the lower court judgment is affirmed. Then the person cannot be put to death until after a mandate has been received by the lower court clerk. And then will the judge issue, and that's a legal term, judges do not issue. That is a ministerial duty of the clerk. Then the judge will sign and present to the clerk for filing an order of execution, as in the case of Carla Faye Tucker, ordering that she be put to death by the director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice before sunset on a particular date. Now, again, when the assistant attorney, for the convenience of a judge, presented to the clerk for filing with her petition suing me for my child, proposed orders, those orders cannot be filed, nor can they be signed until after that judge has held an hearing. You got to give what we call due process. I may want to challenge, I would challenge everything. I may put the state to the burden of proof. You're not going to come to me with hearsay. If you don't want to spend 20 hours and 50 hours doing your job proving, then don't come at me. Don't even come at me. Because it's not going to be easy. You're going to probably go broke. You're going to get real frustrated. I'm going to appeal everything. If you should have an or in a sentence syntax, and I see an and joining two independent clauses, and it becomes absurd, then I'm going to claim that the law is unconstitutional, unconstitutionally vague. You don't know who you're fucking with. You all don't even understand English grammar. Most of you are. Talking about these attorneys. Now, you cannot do that. CPS just committed a crime, its employees. I have a right, they don't know this obviously, to know who's made these decisions. The judge, if he signed an order and filed it without conducting a hearing that denies me my God-given right to visit my child, should not be. Don't you think I have a right by God to be informed of this action, state action? Judge don't have that type of authority. I mean, unless he holds a hearing and there's evidence that shows I'm dangerous to my own child. And then even in that case, they would fashion a remedy that, well, we'll have security. He can visit his child behind glass or whatever, if that were the case. But there's no showing that I'm violent. I don't have a violent history. The videos that I put on Facebook and the videos at the hospital for Saturday, May 6, 2017 show that I did not engage in any child abuse. I have a friend, he's a sheriff deputy, and he's now coming forward and saying that when I went in the hospital and asked why my wife is not free, what's the problem here? When that nurse or whomever she was stated she cannot leave, and I asked who cannot leave, and then the nurse responded, she cannot leave. And I asked, do y'all have a court order or orders from doctors? And I also identified myself as her husband. He said to me, not that I needed him to, that he's the Harris County Sheriff Deputy, not only must they inform me, because that's my wife, why she cannot leave, but they also had to release her to me if indeed she was a threat. I could go apply for a warrant from the Harris County Psychiatric Center. But what they want to do and what they did, I don't know if I had taken the time to tell y'all what's really going on. Well, after I went to jail and got out, I went over to the FBI. And I spoke with a person who said in the FBI that he was Special Agent Brian Collins. Brian Collins, Special Agent, called Behavioral Hospital of Bel Air, and he was put to speak with by that hospital staff thereof, someone calling himself Dr. Cardona. Dr. Cardona immediately started talking to the FBI, because I was just sitting there listening, and the FBI could see Brian Collins wanting to speak, but the doctor evidently just kept talking, and finally Brian Collins was able to get another word in. And then he asked him, well, I have a gentleman in my office who's claiming that his wife is being unlawfully held by you all against her will. And he's saying that you all don't have an order. The doctor went off again, speaking about for 5 minutes. Finally, Brian Collins stated, quote, "Doctor, if you would quit trying to defend yourself and let me ask a question, we might could be done with this. All I'm trying to figure out is whether or not you all are holding her pursuant to an order. That's all I'm trying to figure out," unquote. Then the doctor spoke. I can't hear the conversation. Finally, the special agent wrote down information on a paper note, and it was 22,000 or something like that, South McGregor, Harris County Psychiatric Center. He told the agent that my wife was being held pursuant to a warrant of the probate court, and that I could go over there and see that warrant, and that would close the matter. I left the FBI, went exactly looking for that location. There's no such address that I could find. Well, my phone told me you arrived at your destination while I was still on the freeway. So that wasn't what I was trying to do or go. Visiting someplace while on the freeway. Eventually, I found the address to be 2800 South McGregor, and I went in there, and there's a hospital part of it, and the court, probate course, is in the same building. The hospital entered my wife's name in the system and told me, we don't know who she is. She's not in our system. And then I explained, well, I just left the FBI, and we were told that my wife is being held pursuant to a warrant. Same thing as an order. Well, what's her name again? Her name is you know, what it is. And I gave her date of birth. Sir, she's not in our system. Well, he told me to come to the court. Well, the court is closed. You can come back tomorrow. Okay. The next day, well, that same day I called the hospital and I asked to speak to Dr. Cadona to discuss this matter with him, what's going on. And he dodged the phone call, maybe called 10 times. 10 times he would refuse to speak with me. And I got in touch. They put me through with an administrator. Forget her name, but my phone recorded all the conversations. And she told me that some deputy constable of Montgomery County, not Harris County, but Montgomery County, delivered my wife to the probate judge, and that my wife is legally in the custody of the Behavioral Hospital of Bel Air. I knew that was a lie. I knew that when she said Montgomery County constable delivered her to some judge, I knew that was a lie right there. So, and she went on to tell me that I could, that my wife would be seen by a probate judge on the next day. Now, that's a contradiction. It is what we call a fallacy. If my wife was already being held pursuant to a warrant, being brought back to the same court before the same judge, would not, for another warrant, would not make her what would already be legal detention anymore legal. If she was not being held, my wife, at the time that the FBI agent spoke to the doctor and who had told him that my wife was then, at that date and time, held pursuant to a warrant, then her custody was unlawful. If there was no legal authority for holding her initially, subsequent action by anybody would not make prior unlawful custody legal. Does that make sense? Which nobody was getting what I was saying. So it's the same way with jurisdiction in the United States, state or federal and federal court. If a court had no jurisdiction at the time that the litigation was brought, jurisdiction will not rise with the passage of time. I went back to the probate court the very next day. I guess that's May 11. I'm now I have to check my dates. When I went there, once again at the hospital part of it, there was no record of my wife ever being in their system, according to what I was told. They don't let you record because they take your cell phone and recording devices from you, as does the FBI. So I won't have proof of what was said to me by the Harris County, those psychiatric people in the hospital as part of it. I was told that I couldn't go into the court, but I could call from a phone on the wall. I called, and the person I spoke with informed me that my wife was not on the docket. Unlike contrary to what I had been told by the lady, woman rather, that I talked with, administrator of the hospital, Behavioral Hospital of Bel Air, that my wife would be brought there on that date. So I went home and I called Brian Collins and told him that what he had been told by Dr. Cadona had been a lie. And needless to say, I told him, it's a crime for people to lie to the FBI. He told me that he wasn't conducting an investigation. I told him, I said, you was on duty, wasn't you? Okay, then you was conducting an investigation. You was on duty as an FBI agent, and you call, I come into the office complaining that a crime had been committed under Title 18, United States Code Section 242, a deprivation of rights under color law. And you tell me when you pick up the phone and engage in a conversation, you're not investigating or in an administrative investigation role? You just out the kindness of your heart doing this? Really? Okay. No, you ain't gonna tell Congress that, right? You're not gonna tell Congress. You're not gonna tell Office of Inspector General you wasn't conducting an investigation on government time. You're not finna do that. So he get the message So he tells me, or told me in the past tense, I should say, to call him back. So you want to federalize me to be the FBI investigator? No, I'm not saying that. Well, that's what you're doing. I'm not an investigator. They don't want, because if I go to investigate, somebody gonna go to jail. Somebody going to jail. If you federalize me, I'm not finna play with you. Federalize me if you want to. Start telling me to, and I got you recorded telling me to do this here, and let somebody start obstructing justice and watch how I behave. You don't want to see the way I'm going to behave. I'm going to just tell the world right now. As God's last prophet, you don't want to see. Don't federalize me to investigate for you. Putting the world on notice now. Don't federalize me. Because when you start, again, and I'll be through with it. When you start telling me to go investigate and call, the audio is going to show the IOG what he said to do. And also told me to call my wife and have her to do it too. That's your job. I'm bringing to you a criminal offense alleging elements. This universe has elements. Some are earth, wind, fire, water, gases. If you take them away right now today, life gonna stop to exist eventually. Now, I then went on and done as he asked. I just went on and did as he asked. But it wasn't necessary, but I did by way of cell phone. And I got the clerks admitting that day that my wife was not in the system. Not the hospital part of it, the clerk, the probate clerk, the Harris County probate clerk's office said that my wife was not being held pursuant to any authority, warrant, order, whatever you want to refer to it as, nor has she ever been. And I got her to confirm that. Then she let me speak with her supervisor, and her supervisor come trying to clean it up, telling me, nah, I'm not, And days later, I called yet again, and I got another person to admit the same thing. And I want to always put things all over the world so things don't come up missing. And if things do come up missing, then that can show conspiracy on the part of anybody having technology to hack into my accounts. And I don't think people in Russia want to hack into my account. I don't think people in Russia want to hack into our election just so Donald Trump can win. What's in it for them? What's in it for them? So come on, people. There's, don't really see how Russia could benefit from hacking into influencing our elections. Just don't see how they could benefit from that. Anyway, my wife has never been lawful. Oh, okay. When the hospital, Memorial Hermann Hospital, did not transfer my wife. Well, let me back up. When doctors takes two, determine or have reason to believe and do believe and subject someone to mental evaluation and determine that this person takes two doctors, is suffering from psychosis or any other severe mental illness, then those two doctors must apply by way of an application with the Harris County Psychiatric Center for a warrant that my wife or anyone else be brought to that hospital for mental evaluation. Now, the laws are in place of how the procedure actually works. Off the top of my head, the judge of the probate court will have, I guess, their own doctors work for Harris County to conduct an assessment or a mental evaluation of the person or patient, proposed patient, whatever they refer to them as. And based on this information, I think maybe an attorney may be appointed. That and if the doctor believes that comes to the conclusion that this person is indeed suffering from a mental illness, then I think, I'm just trying to remember, because I just remember what the laws are on this subject. Then the judge will issue a probable cause order. The judge will find probable cause, I should say, and render a protective order, ordering that the person be transferred, involuntarily committed, and transferred to the Harris County Psychiatric Center for treatment. Now, I understand that we have 10 mental hospitals in the state of Texas. I think if they all full, like they do in Dallas County, they contract the county with private hospitals. So then if they don't have any bed for my wife, then the judge will order that my wife be transferred to a private facility for mental treatment. But I take you the procedure, the law. In this case, that didn't happen. What they did, Memorial Hermann Hospital, was put my wife in the ambulance, bypass the damn court, and transfer her directly to Behavior Memorial Hospital, and it would appear to the federal government that, I don't know if it would appear, but I don't know. But it's like she admitted herself in there. And guess who pays for it? Obamacare. It's $5,000 to go in the door for admitting her, $800 a day per her bed, and this does not include doctor's costs. So for me to get this information, I had to, God give me good insight. So this is what I did. I called that hospital twice, running game on them. So I called telling them that I'm sick of all these homeless people, crazies, all our doors, hearing voices, talking to themselves, wanting to kill themselves. I got a truck, and I'm going to load them up and get them away from my house in my neighborhood and bring them there, and y'all deal and treat these people. And my phone conversation is going to substantiate, because I record all my calls, that they were like, why you want to bring them here? Why you can't take them to the Harris County Psychiatric Center? What you want to notice that? Now, they told me they didn't have no beds. You know why they don't want these people? Because they don't have Obamacare. They can't get paid for these. They don't want to treat these people. Fuck them people. They can't get treated. They can't get paid. These private hospitals, they in this for money, not to be taking people off the street that's crazy, that don't have health insurance so they can be paid. So then I called back and I told him I have a brother who's suffering from a mental illness and he's driving my mother crazy, and I just need his ass to be committed. Now they want to figure out a way how we can get him in there. There's no, if I recall, mention that they don't have any beds no more. It may be that they did probably tell me that, but they want to get my brother here. He got health care, Medicare. They can get paid. So now you see why they want my wife. The government, the county has to be, when you look at the laws, this costs the county. People have to be paid for all this. I would have to get the law out. And so it's money involved. So they just bypass the court and go take my wife straight over to the private facility, claiming that she has mental problems, telling me she want to kill herself. My wife said, I ain't never told them people I want to kill myself. I ain't never told, they lying on me. I know they lying. But it's what we call racketeering and insurance, healthcare fraud. Healthcare fraud. In other words, these people being paid to render treatment or service for something that's not needed. My wife went there with a toothache, severe, not there. And notice why every time I take her to these hospitals, all of a sudden, she wants to kill herself. Before I took her to this hospital, she didn't want to kill herself. Notice that all these black people that go to jail, wait till they go to jail and hang themselves. Why you can't hang your goddamn self before you go to jail? This shit don't make no damn sense to me for people to want to wait and do this on the sheriff's watch or the chief of police's watch. Do that shit on your own goddamn watch, because God is watching you take life that God gave you. You didn't give your goddamn self the life in which you live. That's not your body to have an abortion or to take it, the life. All that shit belong to God. And the minute our government start teaching people the life in which you live is not yours, the body in which you live is not yours. Everything belongs to God. Therefore, you have no right to tattoo your body. I mean, it's not your body. None of this belongs to you. If it was yours, you could do what the fuck you want to do with it. It belongs to God. So stop tattooing, stop having abortion, stop killing people. We can't have a death penalty, because God, that's all that belongs to God. Now, having said all that, killing, taking God's life like God is weak or something. Keep on. Revelation 22, chapter 22, 21 says, keep on doing wrong. Keep on. So I've established, I believe, why Herman, and if you're listening, if anyone that saw the video, has seen rather, the videos, 3 videos that day, will see that I went in the hospital. I was, I parked in front of the hospital, and you can park there, but one is well advised not to be parked there too long. Don't park there too long. So when I went into the hospital on May 6th, Saturday, 2017, I asked, I'm moving fast. I'm trying to show you can see why my demeanor was as it was. So when I go in the hospital, if anyone has seen the video, the first video, I asked my wife, when I see her standing holding our child, what's the problem? What's going on? And I think she said something like, they trying to act like. And I heard the acting part. I was working on a transmission, my uncle and I got to stop and come here, and now we're not doing no damn acting. I'm trying to earn some cash here. What's going on here, please? So I'm Curtis. If you listen to the video, notice I'm saying please. And what response did I get? What's the deal here with my wife? Something like I said, don't quote me, but you know what I was saying. What's the deal here with my wife? And then some woman says she can't leave. Well, it's natural for anybody to ask, why can't she leave? Has she committed a crime? What's going on here? And all I was told, she can't not leave because she just can't. As if that's a reason. By definition, quote, a reason is a statement that explains to the reader why you hold a position and why the reader too should hold that position, unquote. Webster Dictionary. Now, I turned to my wife and I asked her, I don't understand what you mean she can't leave. That didn't sound right to me. Red flags went up. This is my wife. This is the United States. What did she do? They won't tell me. So you should put yourself in my shoe. Somebody telling you your wife can't leave, and you took her to a hospital with a severe toothache, and now you're being told she can't leave. Naturally, you want to know why. So I asked, do y'all have an order from a judge, magistrate, a magistrate or a judge, or do you have orders from doctors? But that would be the only legal authority I could see that would prevent her from leaving. If the hospital has some policy, if she's done something, just tell me, okay. I know how she is. I know how my wife is. She's like her mama. I know how she is. I just want to know what's going on. They wouldn't tell me, okay, well, then what? Then some woman said, you can't record. Memorial Hermann Hospital is a private corporation, but it is open to the public. So when you are a private corporation and you are open to the public, if you're going to restrict or act to restrict by way of policy because you are registered with the Secretary of the State of Texas, therefore your employees act on the color of Texas law. To restrict a person's Fourth Amendment protection, the right to use your cell phone, your property, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, nor property without due process of law, nor shall any state deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. This is what's going on in my mind. So if the state of Texas is going to deprive me of my cell phone in a public, but it's not public, it's private. So I would agree that a private corporation, even though it's admitting the public for treatment or whatever, can have policies. And the policy, if they have a policy and I cannot record, then that's fine. But you have to have them posted and promulgated. And you have to let people have to be able to inspect those. So you see me recording things on the wall of the hospital. I'm recording on the wall. That gives people notice. You can't come in here with handguns and things of that nature without a license. Now, all right, where am I? Okay, so when they told me I couldn't record, okay, immediately I turned the camera off, phone off. I'm complying. I'm not here. See, people be getting it wrong. I be fishing I'm a paraclete. Jesus was the first, I'm the last. Paraclete. Y'all, some people confuse the paraclete for the Holy Spirit. That paraclete is God's last prophet. Jesus was okay, look, man, I don't have time for all this. Here we go. When you see me, I'm in my role. If I'm a wise counselor. I need who, what, when, where, why, and how, and any supporting detail I can get. When I'm investigating them, when I'm in my paraclete role, I'm in a role as a prosecutor, and I'm also in a role as a defense attorney when I'm dealing with these son of a bitches. So when I'm asking you questions, I got a purpose for asking you these questions. I'm not just dry as asking you questions. I'm asking you questions to incriminate your ass. That's why I'm asking you goddamn questions, if you didn't know. And if you are acting in what we call good faith, then I don't have a problem with people recording me because I don't break laws. That's not exactly true. Depending on what kind of laws they are. I run stop signs sometimes. I run red lights sometimes. Normally I'll put my caution lights on. Am I justified in doing it? Yeah. That's a whole different story. Do I violate criminal laws? Do I commit theft? No. Do I commit sexual assault? No. There are some laws I'm like, look at me as like Martin Luther King. It's civil laws, I will violate them if they're unjust. If they're unjust, you damn right I'll violate them. In a quick, fast, and as we say, in a hurry. If that's part of the agenda. Now, having said all that, I turn my cell phone off. My wife, they say in their claim of child abuse that they told me, a grown man, that I was not holding my child correctly. They also was recording. My wife put my child in the car seat and strapped him in. Okay? So they lying there. 2, they said that they told me to strap him in and I refused to do so. But when you look at the video, and then they said, this is what they said in child abuse, what constituted child abuse. 1, I was holding my child incorrectly. 1, they got a camera to show that they lying. Now, I had my camera rolling, but they made me turn it off. The directive that I turned it off, I had to comply. I got to do as they say. I'm in their country. I got to comply. I turned it off. 2, they say that they told me to strap my child into the car seat, and I refused to do that. But their video is gonna show my wife strapped him in. 3, they say I started yelling and screaming, but yelling and screaming mean the same thing. So you're not saying anything, but I started yelling and yelling, or screaming and screaming. They are synonymous, mean the same thing. Now, started yelling and screaming, not at my wife, but at staff, alleging or claiming that they were holding my wife illegally or unlawfully. And says that I was acting such a goddamn fool, according to what they were saying in the petition, that I had to be escorted off the property by security. Now, as soon as my wife got my child strapped in, before I left, I asked her, are you suffering? I said, are you feeling suicidal? She said no. I asked her, do you have any plans to hurt yourself? Same question, been repetitious, or anyone else? She said no. Okay, that's all I needed to hear. Although I wasn't allowed to record that part because they had already told me, turn my phone off, couldn't be recording. So soon as I got into the lobby part of the same hospital, I, for some reason, turned that phone back on. Thank God I did. I turned that bitch back on. Thank you, God. I turned that bitch back on. What? Thank you, God. I turned that bitch back on. I turned that bitch back on, and then this is where you see my wife, leave, before you get in trouble. I guess she already, but see, my wife is like a mom. I don't know why my wife suffered from a severe mental disorder. In her mind, she thinks I'm stupid. I'm not finna argue. I mean, I don't mind arguing with you. Hell, argument got O.J. Simpson off for murder. So argument is good. It's when people want to hurt each other, fight each other, kill each other. That argument I will not engage in. But if we're arguing a point on Bible or a point on law, I love to argue law. I love to argue the Bible. And if I'm wrong and you can convince me, that's the only way you're gonna convince me is through persuasion. You got to convince me. And when you convince me, then you can persuade. That's why I tell people convince and persuade do not mean the same thing. Once you convince a person that his wife is cheating on him, you can easily persuade him to divorce her. So convince means to change someone's belief, whereas persuade means to get a person to do something or not do something. Now, I resume recording. She's yelling leave because she's talking, in her mind, she's worried about me for no reason getting arrested. And you hear what she's saying. Look what's coming out of her mouth. There was no reason. She's not justified in the things she was saying. One of the things I pointed out to her was she was telling me, don't overplay it. Don't overplay what? Don't get arrested. Why are you letting these people hear this come out of your mouth? But it also is good because that shows that her mind was not on what they claim it was on, killing herself. Her mind was on protecting me and our child. It's just the way she went about doing it was putting ideas in the hospital staff mind to do what they did, and that's retaliate and lie, claiming that I engaged in child abuse or child endangerment. Now, she's upset, so much upset that she's concerned about CPS taking our child that she goes so far as to tell me, if CPS take my baby, I'm gonna fuck you up. But the lawsuit suing me for my child for child abuse saying that she said, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna kill you. But her exact words, as you heard, fuck you up. What does that legally mean? Fuck you up. I'm gonna kill you could be construed as to mean murder you. A train might kill you. Lightning might kill you. But only man or woman or children can murder you. When I speak in law, I sometimes I speak fast and I get it wrong because I get excited. I get excited. I get excited. Okay, I'm so great. But I get excited, so sometimes I misspeak, but I later I'll catch my own error. You won't have to catch it for me. I'll catch it myself, and then I'll stand corrected. Now, my wife said that if I got our child taken by CPS, she's gonna fuck me up. And I told her, you making a threat. And if you're paying attention, notice that she's behind the glass in the distance. So I'm having to yell to her to get her to realize, one, I can't leave because the officer, he works as in the role of not a police officer. He's a police officer off duty, yet working. They were two police officers off duty yet working for the hospital like my friend does. He's a Harris County Sheriff's deputy, and he love to do off duty work than he love to do as a deputy on duty because he makes more. So he can't wait to go work for a hospital or wherever else because that's a lot of cash. But anyway, they asked me to wait because that woman had called for I guess she felt that HPD president would have. So I fuck HPD. I only fear God. I don't fear no goddamn gun. I just don't. And now even if a rattlesnake, I know it's a danger there. But let me be clear that I realize the danger, but there's a bear. You're supposed to fear God. Now of course I don't know if the exact words, maybe I do fear then because I know that bear, that snake, and that gun is a threat. But my Bible tells me to fear God, not man. So maybe I don't fear man, but I fear what he can do to me. I don't fear the snake, but what the snake can do to me. So if that's the same thing, a distinction without a difference, then oh well. But man himself, fuck man, fuck woman. I fear God. And I love God. Now, that senior officer wanted to speak with me. My wife didn't know this. So I couldn't leave like she was demanding that I leave. I couldn't leave. I mean, he wants to speak. Why would I ignore him? Why would I do that? He hadn't done anything to me. Why would I just fuck him? Why would I do that? I wasn't in a hurry. I mean, I did need to get back to the car, but now I got my son, so hey, it's gonna be, different. I got to closely supervise, advise my son. I can't do much with my uncle in the way of working on his transmission anymore. But so that's why I was trying to get my wife to understand. See, I was talking to my wife. He told me you hear me trying to get her to understand. He's telling me to hold on. She's all excited, out of control. And I don't know what the hell going on. I'm just called on the scene to come get the baby. I don't know what the fuck going on here. So I'm trying to get her to understand that he's telling me to hold on. And then she makes a threat, and I got to warn my wife, baby, I done told you by being like your mother, making these goddamn threats, you're going to fuck around and get yourself in some trouble you ain't going to be able to get out of. You're going to fuck around and get a goddamn criminal record. You keep this shit up being like your mama. Your mother failed you, and she failed all her children. This is not how we're raising our child. When my wife and I get back on point, when my wife and I go somewhere, if she's driving, I'm in the back seat with our son. If I'm driving, she's in the back seat with our son. My wife and I have an agreement that our child is never to be outside, away from our supervision. Neither my mother on my side of the family nor on her side of the family may be with our child unless he's under our supervision. And that's why, so when CPL was talking about giving my child to my mama, no. God gave him to me and her to raise him. The child, Caden Lee Whitfield, our child, actually belongs to God. He put Caden Lee Whitfield in our care, custody, and control until that child becomes becomes a legal age. And when he becomes a legal age, then he can, stay on, in our house. I would want him, hope he does, but if he chooses to move out, then, I enjoyed the time that God gave us to as our infant, as our child, to raise up. Now, as you see in the video, the police did not, and the security, all of them in the capacity of security officers, even the police officers, they off duty. They not police officers there. They are security officers. So when I had my baby, I was talking to him. Look at the video, it's self-explanatory. When you see what they're alleging I've told you what they alleged. They said, now from this point, this is the part where they hang themselves. And this is why the judge is committing the crime, all of, because what they're alleging, that last part 2 of 2 video shows everything that they allege that they tried to claim constituted child abuse under Texas law. Texas law defines abuse as, you know, as it does. I don't have it before me right now, but there was no genuine threat of physical abuse from physical harm. There was no physical abuse, nor was there a genuine threat. So they had to been trying to go in. This the only way that they could. This the only theory that they could be thought that they could get, you know, bullshit somebody on, and that's a genuine threat of preposition, no phrase of physical injury, prepositional phrase from physical harm. That's what the law is as defined by the Texas legislature to constitute child abuse. You got 3 components. One is physical abuse, mental abuse, threat of abuse, and I should say 4, child neglect. Those elements